Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Lili Nishmasim Miriam Mordechai. So I want to say a tremendous yishkoyach to the Hebrew shir. Surprise birthday, beautiful. You can see the leftovers. Somebody made a cake. They had these donuts. They had Coca-Cola with a special wrapper, MDY wrapper. They had a special message from Reb Zilberstein, from Yishai Rebo. They had people from America come on Zoom, Yossi Klein, Mark Ashkenazi. The confetti was all MDY confetti. The sushi, tremendous amount of sushi. Some wife made fruit platters. Another wife made cookies. Another wife made cakes. It was unbelievable. So, Ishkoyach. I know the Americans, they want me to bring to you. So, Be'ezer Hashem, next birthday I will bring to you. But Ishkoyach, Bezrat Hashem. Oh, here it is, Rabbi, if you want to see. I was surprised actually. I didn't. Yeah, guitar, they were singing. Balloons, look at those balloons, the balloonerators alone. Shkoyach Gadol to the Hebrew speakers. By the way, I don't know the numbers for English, it's high, but the Israelis brought close to 2,000 new people to sign up. 2,000. Last night it was at about 19 something. So, unbelievable. Be'ezer Hashem, the Americans will outdo them on that as well. I want to say tremendous yishkoyach to Meilech Weber from the famous OJBA. It's a giant construction show in New York. He's part of the daf, so he's giving us a booth. A booth over there is not cheap. Giving us a free booth. We are actually looking for people to man the booth, and he has a base measure there, and the shir is going to be playing all day long, different shiurim, our shir, but different times. So check it out, a tremendous ishkoyach. I have to remind the Olam, in America, in Borough Park, on Wednesday, we're starting Sanhedrin live at the ballroom. It's Rabbi, what's his name again? The guy, not Webster. Carr. What's his first name? Terrible with names. I said it's the same place as last year. That's a Teres Gold. No, that's also his hall, but we're doing another one in the ballroom. The ballroom. That's his new hall. I don't know, 51st Street something. Here it is. My boy said you can see over here the special Coca-Cola bottles that had different ingredients. It said Gishmak and everything about the shir, the whole thing. It was very cool. Everybody got a little bag with a mug and different. They put a lot of effort. A few weeks they worked on it. So Yishkoyach Gadol Moed. In terms of the Shabbaton, very few rooms remain in the 20s. So it's amazing to have just a few days left and 20 rooms. Bekitzer, Be'ezrat Hashem is going to be completely sold out. This is a birthday gift from Shlomi Klein. He's excellent in getting gifts. I use his gift every single day. This one, and also the benchers that he got me. I told you about the benchers, the $410 benchers. $410, which however comes to my house, you see nicest benchers you've ever seen. So what he got, he says, this I got you for on Yat Kislev, which is this Friday. They do Chalukas Hashas. And he said, wait, doing Chalukas Hashas, we might as well do Sanhedrin, which the Rebbe used to take Sanhedrin all the time. So it fits right in, because we're starting Sanhedrin, we're starting in New York a day early on Wednesday. It's really Thursday. So if you missed the first, you could start, you could chab Chalukas Hashas, you could sign up with this. So Yishkoyach Gadol Ma'od. Let me see what I have here. The boy said, this is the Chevra in Belgium. Baruch Hashem, we're getting bigger, and we had an amazing, inspirational siyum. They were Messiah last night in Belgium. Check this out. They have the 8-minute daf, the MDY sign behind, beautiful. Ari Bick, Shavuot Tov Reb Eli, thank you for coming to Ra'anana. I've been with you online for 2.5 years. You saved me from falling off the bandwagon in the middle of Yavamas. Thank you for keeping it real, interesting, and motivating us to continue learning. It took me 50 years to reach my first siyum. Mesechtes Rosh Hashanah. The afternoon after completing a half Ironman in Tveria 3 years ago. And from there, the decision was made to complete a full cycle. The daf, I don't know what PG is. What? Please God, pray God. Okay. The daf as daily goal is truly, Amoritz in Hebrew, Amoritz in English. The daf as a daily goal is truly life-changing, and I appreciate your constant inspiration. Carry on, Rabboisai. To my Rebbe, Reb Eli, lately there was a hack about changing non-Jewish names to Jewish ones. What about, he says the guy's name, I'm looking forward to Shabbaton, including my roommate Nachman Seltzer, an 8th grade Rebbe from Torah Das, Rufishal Schachter, and singing and dancing. Will be so geschmack, whether it's Heimish or Eitan G, Shlakrak. I can't wait to be uplifted from all the speakers, very gifted. Can't wait to see you there. Your Talmud since Yuma, Moshe Handler. Oh, his Reb Yisrael Zilberstein. I think he's reading off a piece of paper.
הרבה שנים לתת את דף היומי לפני אלפי איש ויגדל ויקדש משל הקודש ברוך הוא.
I just realized, I don't think he remembers me. I lived 3 years in his neighborhood. He doesn't remember me. Yeah. The amount of adults I beat up when I was there, and he had a couple schmoozing with me about it. Pick on people your own age.
He just doesn't believe there's any way you're doing this shit.
No, he doesn't know. He has no clue. I have to go visit him. Photo from Gabi, spotted at my local pharmacy, Reb Eli. Check this out. I think it's very cool. MDY daily with Reb Eli Daf Yomi promotes healthy function of Torah life. 1 daf per day. Fun, engaging, action-packed, proven to boost your energy, focus, and daily inspiration. 365 days a year. Morning or evening. Caution: the shir is heavily addictive and will definitely affect your life. Shmak. One more. Thank you for your shiurim. It truly made my life more entertaining. Regarding the story said from Reb Zilberstein Shlita regarding the Meshulach, I was going to meet my perspective. That's the Meshulach. He found out that the Gvir had a shaila on a certain sugya, so he learned the sugya. I was going to meet my perspective shver that day. I sat down to learn, not a common occurrence. Punkt. We learned the sugya, and the Arshur brings a ktsoy, so the Kashav Nesivis, M'shav Nesiv. Bekitzer, I went to meet him. He's a huge Talmud Chacham. He asked me what I'm learning. I told him the Gemara, then proceeded to repeat the whole shtickle Torah. Needless to say, the shidduch happened. A few weeks later, he asked me what I was learning. I told him we just started Yivamis. He started asking his new Adam some questions on Taisvis. I had no clue what he's talking about. He quickly realized who I really am. It's been 23 years and he still doesn't talk to me and learning since then. After learning his story, I stopped questioning if the whole shidduch was a shaila, if the kedushin was Taifis at all. It's a mekach tovs. Now I know it's Yata D'Shmaya. Until I found these shit during Corona and I've been going strong. Baruch Hashem. The Masech responsive for the safe and speedy return of all the hostages. Parnassa chodesh Eli nishmas Chaya bas Yosef Eli nishmas Zechariah ben Moshe. Force hanefesh and go for Breina Bina bad Miriam baila or bracha bad Breina Bina and Netanel Kalev ben or bracha. Parnassa chodesh a fast and complete Refuah sheleyma for Shmuel Nechemia ben Hinda. Parnassa chodesh Eli nishmas Silya bas Dvora. Parnassa chodesh Eli nishmas B'yom Meir ben Zev David Hashem yikum daimai. A lot of the guys already left to America. I'm assuming Robert is probably in America. I know Reb Nachman Seltzer left yesterday, and our camera guys are going today. It's going to be fun. Yaakov Citron. Parnassa Shavua, Yaakov Citron. Excited to meet everyone at the Shabbaton. Parnassa Shavua, for Yosef Chaim, Shmuel ben Altan Chama from his grateful family. Parnassa Yoim, anonymous from Lakewood. As the schus for Reb Eli and the Chevra for a safe trip, and thank you to Yossi and Mark. Parnas Hayoim, in honor of Miriam Rabbi Reb Eli Shlita, his birthday. May he and his family be bestowed with all the brachas. Much shakar zatoy for giving me back my portion of Torah G'dosha, of the Torah G'dosha. L'zech nishmas, my namesakes, Yardside, Peretz ben Hil Yaakov Sedowitz, who was born near Ponovich, Lithuania. May his neshama have an aliyah by his great nephew Peretz Chaim Levin. Parnas Hayoim, sponsored by Kinnovations LLC in honor of Rabbi Umayri Harav Eli Stefansky on his Hebrew birthday. I know that Rebbe is anti-giving out brachas, but since it's his Hebrew birthday, it has an extra power. Thank you to Mark Ashkenazi for getting this in way beyond the deadline. I was trying to prepare. I have to give 4 shiurim tomorrow. Not simple. It takes me all day to do one shir. I have to throw it in. So I was learning late. and I see on my computer, I see somebody typing on my screen. And it was Mark Ashkenazi throwing this in there. Rabbi said, I go to mdyseum.com, says Mark Ashkenazi, mdyseum.com, to see if your local seum is up there. There are different places like Baltimore and Cleveland, etc., etc. The art of the month, for schus, for Reb Eli and the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah so enjoyable for so many, to Reb Kinnovations LLC, special bracha, you should have a lot of atzlach Parnassa, nachas, gesund, arichas yomim, shalom bayis, should be able to continue giving and giving. Rabbi Sai, here we are on Daf Kufan Gimel Amud Beis, Omar Meimar, like 20 lines from the bottom. Omar Meimar, Orev de Mishtabed. So I have a question. I'll give you the answer in a hint. What do we paskin like in terms of asmachta? We had if you remember, we had a boat casino scene. Does anybody remember what the end was? Is asmachta kanya or loy kanya? In other words, if you do something that, loy kanya. How do you remember?
The share video.
The video, the slot machine. So what's the situation? A person commits himself to something that he's sure he won't have to come through at the end. So we paskin. Let's see. Here we go. Asmachta leikanya. Remember the whole cruise thing? I'm not going to show you the whole thing. Don't worry. Turns out asmachta leikanya. That's how we paskin. So let's think about it. Our friend, Mendy Nai's friend, a lot of you know him also from the neighborhood. He made an asmachta. He made an arvos for his friend. Yeah, a friend came over to him. Want to buy a house? Do you mind signing here? No problem. Of course, it's a mitzvah. Sign. The guy never ended up paying whatever it was, the mortgage, this, that. So this guy, learning in Koil, has to pay close to $1 million or whatever. Crazy amount of money for a Koil guy. He finished paying it off last year. That's not an asmachta. He had no hava, meaning he's going to have to pay such an exuberant amount of money. So that's an asmachta. So how does arvus work? He's only agreeing to be an Arav if he doesn't have to pay, not if he has to pay. If gambling, if you gamble money, you can't take the guy's money, it's considered stealing because he never thought he's going to lose that bet. So certainly an asmachta. So says the Gemara, Omar Amima, Arav de Mishtabed, the fact that an Arav could commit himself to paying, Machlokes Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Yossi, does it even work? Rabbi Yossi, no, asmachta kanya, according to Rabbi Yossi, makes sense because asmachta does work. So even if it's something you don't believe is going to happen, you are obligated to pay, so therefore Arav Mishtabed. So that's why Arav works. Rabbi Yehuda Amar asmachta loy kanya, Arav loy Mishtabed. According to Rabbi Yehuda, that says that asmachta doesn't work, so it shouldn't work. We paskin that asmachta doesn't work. But everyone in this room, once upon a time, pretty much, was an Arav. So that means it's not a contradiction. How does it work? I know I was Arav. I know you were an Arav. I know Benny's an Arav on 3 things right now, and he's paying it off. 3 Arvas. Elamar Ravashi, huh? What about you? Were you ever an Arav? Yes. Okay.
And they still owe me the money 3 years later.
Okay, so that's what you say. You got to be careful when you do it. But a lot of people in this room are, I don't know if everybody, but it's a mitzvah d'oraisa. It's a mitzvah to be an Arav. And you have to be careful. Elamar Ravashi, Bahu Anah, the Kamehemenle. When that Gmach says, Dr. Factor, you brought Dr. Factor. Oh, we know him. He's a great guy. He's going to pay us up. That gives you such an inside you feel big and powerful. That anah makes you commit to it. So the Rashbam sticks in here. It's as if he himself borrowed the money, and that's how there's a kinyan over here. He's like the loiva. And if the guy stipulated, the malva stipulated, okay, I'll give you the loan on condition that I could go after you, the borrower, or the Arav. When could he go after the Arav? Only first. When the loiva doesn't have nechasim. Nechasim would mean basically property. But what else does it mean? Non-movable objects that are known. Known movable, such as today, a car. Known objects. So if he has known objects, you can't go after the Arav, you go after the car, you go after his property. But if the loiva has real estate, you cannot go after the guarantor. From the fact that the Mishnah itself says that this is Reb Shimon Gamliel's svara. Only Reb Shimon Gamliel holds that if he has property, the loiva that is, you don't go after the loiva, the Arav, you go after the loiva. It seems like the Tanakama doesn't even make that distinction. If he has property, he doesn't have property, you could go after the Arav right away. Says the Gemara, no, not true. The machlokes between the Tanakama and Reb Shimon Gamliel is in something very different. The machlokes is going to be on a kablon. But in fact, even the Tanakama agrees that if the loiva, the borrower, has property, you never go after the Arav. Every gemach is going to call up the loiva a bunch of times, and when they see that he's a deadbeat, he's ignoring them, then they go after the Arav. They never call up the Arav first. That's what the Persians do, the Parsim. We don't do that. So therefore, we have to just stick in a couple of words. It's as if it said these words. If you lend somebody money, do not go after the Arav first. But if he makes a stipulation that you could go after anyone you want, then you could go after the guarantor even first. However, you have to have another condition. That's only in a situation where the borrower doesn't have any belongings, any real estate, or no belongings. So, what do we have here? We have two conditions. First of all, there has to be a stipulation that I could go after whoever I want first. I could go after the guarantor. And also, make sure that the borrower doesn't have property. If you don't have one of those things, even if I made a stipulation I could go after the guarantor first, but the loiva has property, I have to go to the loiva first. But if the loiva has property, you do not go after the Arav first, only second. Then comes the Tanakama and says, the kablon. What's a kablon? We're going to see a lot about a kablon. Kablon is powerful. He uses language like tenloi, give him. So a kablon is different. Kablon is like he's taking super responsibility. You go after the kablon first. Let me just show you real quickly. This is like the maskan of the sugya. You have a regular Arav. So first you have to go after the loiva, and if that doesn't work, then you can go to the Arav. Now you have an Arav with a condition. That's what we just spoke about. An Arav with condition means if you want to, you could go after the Arav, you could go after me. The Bible says, I don't want to be busy with the loiva. I want to be able to call you first. Is that okay? Yes. We just said that's only if he doesn't have property. But if the loiva has property, you have to go to the loiva first, even if you made that condition. If you know for a fact that the loiva doesn't have any property, he lives in a hotel, and he doesn't even have a car, then you can go directly to the Arav. Another thing is called the Arav Kabbalah, that we just said. So here you could go after the Arav right away. Now we have something else the Gemara is going to talk about later, and that is that if the Arav takes the money directly from the Malva and gives it over to the Loiva, he's the middleman. He held on to the money, touched the money, then you can't even go after the Loiva even if you wanted. Did you look it up, Reb Menachem? Okay. So says the Gemara. On this comes Reb Shimon Kufayin Dalet Amud Aleph. On this comes Reb Shimon Gamliel and he argues, Reb Shimon Gamliel Oimer, Yesh Nechasim LaLoiva, Echod Zeh V'Echod Zeh, Lo Yipara Mehem. Even a kablon, if the loiva has belongings, why are you going after the Arav kablon? Go straight after the borrower. Famous Gemara that whenever Reb Shimon ben Gamliel argues in the Mishnah, the halacha is like him, besides three places. Chutz me Arav. In our case, the Reb Shimon Gamliel says that if the loiva has property, you don't go after the Arav Kablon, you go after the loiva. The halacha is not like him. When he's a kablon, he goes directly to the kablon. V'tzidon. So tzidon, this is in Gitin Daf Ayin Daled. Omer Reb Shimon Gamliel Maise b'tzidon. She stole her husband's coat, so he divorced her because of that. And he said, listen, I'll give you a get on condition. No, that's not why he divorced her, but she was a crazy woman, so he divorced her. She happened to steal his coat. And he says, listen, I'm divorcing you, but on condition you give me back my coat. And she couldn't find it. She could just give him cash value. Reb Shimon Gamliel says, no, the get won't be chal if you don't give the actual coat. The halacha is not like Reb Shimon Gamliel. The other cases, this is interesting, because Raya Achreina. What's Raya Achreina? So if you look over here, just made it easy, it says in the Mishnah, calls much maybe Raya, Soiser Sadin. Okay? So that's Raya Rishoina. That's the first Raya in the Mishnah. Raya Achreina means the second underlined word Raya. And that is that if a person says, I don't have Eidim, he has a case, and he says, I don't have any Eidim. This is in Sanhedrin. It is a teaser for another month from now, Daf Amud Aleph. The guy says, I don't have Eidim, and later on he produces Eidim, so too late. So we don't paskin like Reb Shimon Gamliel. Reb Shimon Gamliel says it's not too late, and we say it is too late. Raya Achreina just means the second Raya in the Mishnah. I think it's interesting. Omer Avuna. Halveyu vani orev. He says to the guy, lend him money, and I'll be an orev. So, Rabbi Isai, with your rishos, because we're starting new Masechta, I'd like to, they keep on bothering me, that is Nisanol, you have to do another video. So let's do it here in the Shiur live. Hopefully it works on the first try. I have to do it again. These are very nerve-wracking. We'll do it here. And maybe Gershon, after I finish, just go out to the tzibur and you show that we're in a live share. So try to be quiet during, because we'll put on the status or whatever it is. The covered Sanhedrin. Anybody have anything that I should throw in there? What should I say? No. This is for Sanhedrin. Guys, for Sanhedrin. Okay, fine. We'll just go. You don't have anything? Whatever comes out. Huh?
Just came up with it. Get Sanhedrin in your head.
Get Sanhedrin in your head. Okay, I'll try to remember that. Rabbi Isai, we're about to begin Masechta Sanhedrin. You know, Sanhedrin has 30 daf of stories in Agadita. It has the most Tanakh in all of Shas. Most of the stories of Tanakh are in Masechta Sanhedrin. It has hundreds of beautiful sugyas. We're learning about Arvos. Kol Yisrael Arevim Zelazeh. It's our obligation to go out there and get another Yid to learn Torah every day. Today is my birthday, Tesvav of Kislev. I want to give everybody here in the room and all of Klai Yisrael a bracha. Should all be Zoichet Harichas Yomim, Gesund, Parnassa, Nachas from your children, Nachas from your wives. Amen. Shalom Bayis. And you should be Zoichet to bring more people to Torah. We should be Zoichet to finish Shas together. Get Sanhedrin in your head. Rabbi Isai, Sanhedrin today. Thank you. All right. You guys are amazing. So we continue on. How does Arev work? So let me just show you. It's it's gewaldic. Here we go. Arev, a typical Arev, has the word halveyu. Lend him money. So you could say the word halveyu vani Arev, and you could say the following things. Halveyu vani perei, I'll pay it up. Halveyu vani chayev, I'm chayev. Halveyu vani nois, and I'll give. Kablon is the word tenloi. So it goes like this, tenloi. So if I use the tenloi vani kablon, what if I say tenloi vani pereya, tenloi vani chayev, tenloi vani noisen? These are all kablon. Check it out. What if I take one word from Arev and one word or the two words from kablon? I put them together. I go like this. Halveyu vani kablon. Is he an Arev or is he a kablon? So Reb Eli is going to tell us that he's a kablon. Why? Because he says the word kablon straight out. He didn't say Arev. He used a weak word of Arvos, halveyu, give him money, but he didn't say the word Arev. Had he said ten loivani Arev, then he used the weak word of kablon, but a strong word of Arev. That's Reb Yitzchak. We're going to see two other shittas. So leave that on the screen for a second. Here it is. Amar Ravuna, 5 lines from the top. Halveu vani Orev, Halveu vani Pereya, Halveu vani Chayav, Halveu vani Noisen. These are all Halveus, Kulan Lashon Arva saying. Tenloi vani Kablan. If he uses the Lashon of Kablan as Tenloi. Tenloi vani Pereya, I'll pay it back. Tenloi vani Chayav, I'll be Chayav. Tenloi vani Noisen, I'll give. Kulan Lashon Kablan. Ibaylo. So the Gemara has a question. What if I say one word from the column of Arvos and the other 2 words from Kablanas? Halveu vani Kablan. Tenloi vani Orev, or you mix it up the other way. You use the strong word of Arvos, but you say Tenloi. My Omer Reb Yitzchak, Lashon Arvos, Arvos, Lashon Kablanas, Kablanas. Since in this case, on the bottom, he used the word Kablan, you're right, he's stuck in the word Halveu, he didn't say Tenloi, but he said Mefurish, I'm a Kablan, so he's a Kablan. And if he says Mefurish, I'm a Orev, and he uses the words of Kablanas, he says Tenloi, he's an Orev. Rav Chizda Amar, Kulon, Lashon Kablanas. Check this out, look at this, Rabbi side. This whole entire chart, every single one of these things turns into Kablanas. They all turn blue. Everything is blue besides one. Hilveyu v'ani Orev. Halveyu v'ani Orev. 8 out of the 9 are Kablanas. When you say Mefurish Halveyu v'ani Orev, that's Orev. That's it. That's the only way you can become an Orev. And Rav Chisda says the exact opposite. Take a look at the screen for a second. Oh, I'm sorry, Rava. Rava says the exact opposite. 8 out of the 9 are Arvos. Only if you say Tenloi v'ani Kablan, you become a Kablan. Including the one on the bottom that has a mixed lashon of Halveu v'ani Kablan, the question that we asked. Rav Chizda Amar Kulan Lashon Kablan is saying, Bar Malveu v'ani Orev. Rav Amar Kulan Lashon Arva is saying, Bar mitenloi v'ani Noisen. Amar Mar Bar Amemar Rav Ashi. Mar Bar Meimar said to Rav Ashi, Hochi Omar Abba. This is what my father said. Who was his father? What was his father's name? The Olam is holding. Mar Bar Amemar. Mar, the son of Amemar, said, this is what my father said. Amemar said, Ten loy vani noisein. Ein lamal v'alaloiva kulum. If he says such a strong lashon, give it to him, and I will pay you, then the malva can't come to the loiva. Why? Because in this situation, the Arev becomes the loiva himself. Says Gemara v'loi, not true. Yes, there is a concept like that the Arev becomes the borrower, but only if the Arev holds onto the money momentarily. He grabs the money from the loiva, passes it off from the malva and passes it off to the loiva, then he becomes the borrower, and you don't go after the loiva, I think at least initially. We had a machlokes last night if he could ever go after the loiva. I think yes. Menachem Ates said no. We have to look it up. I don't know. Amud Ayana, I forgot to look it up. Amud Ayana, we have a few geschmack stories here, Rabbi Isai. Amud Ayana da achti lemalva lenichse the loiva. What happens when somebody owes someone money? What do you do first? What's step one? Step one, what do? You call him up and say, could you please pay back? What did this Dayan do? Instead of calling him up, instead of making sure that he's going to pay, he went ahead and he grabbed his apartment, this house from him. He threw him out of the apartment. What are you doing? You ask him? Maybe he has cash. Maybe he wants to pay back. Before he even was able to sue the loiva, he took away his property. Something like this, Rabbi Isai, take a look.
Rabbi, you're fired.
Okay? He fired him. He fired the Dayan. He was right for firing him. Why? So the Rashbam brings 2 psukim. I like this one. I chose this one. Who am I to choose a pasuk? But there's one in the Torah, and this one is a little bit. He brings the other one. What's the other one? Yotzi alecha havei tachutza, the famous pasuk in Dvar. But this one says straight out, Im ein lecha l'shalom, if you don't have what to pay, loma yikach mishkavcha mitachtecha. Why should you take your mattress? Why should you take your bed? The pasuk is saying in Mishlei that when you owe money, you owe him your bed. Just maybe you shouldn't take it, but you owe the bed. The bed is like a guarantor. Your house is the guarantor. That's why I keep on saying nobody should know about this. It's a tsar tzrura. But if you have a $1 million apartment in Bet Shemesh and you owe money, think strong and hard, and you're struggling to pay back the loan, it's already a year, 2 years, and the guy's begging for his money back, you have an obligation. It might be, go ask the Rav, it might be that you have to sell the house. That's your chiyuv. A smachta on a loan? No. You borrowed money. Well, do you owe somebody money? You have a house? Is that okay? Good. Baruch Hashem. No, a smachta doesn't work here. Nice try. So
I would never expect somebody to.
Hold on, I have an email for you. 1 second. Let me read the email. 1 second. Where was it? Oh. To my Rebbe Reb Eli. Lately there's a hack about changing non-Jewish names to Jewish ones. What about Elvis?
You can call me
Here. I'm not making this up. Here it is. Anyways, let's go weiter. So, says the Gemara, no, a smachta, you borrowed money, you have to return the money. There's no smachta. What, you didn't know you're going to, I don't understand how this smachta works here. So, says the Gemara, in a second I'm going to tell you something the exact opposite of what you just said. Listen to Svara. Just like you have a guarantor, his name is Ruvain, you have a bed that his name is a bed. And that bed you have to give to the malva, to the lender. You have a house, you have to give it to the lender. Usnan, but we just learned yesterday in a Mishnah, if you borrow money from your friend, you shouldn't go after the guarantor. You shouldn't go after him first, but you could go after him second. Akopanim. You dying that went after the guarantor first, you don't know what you're doing. You missed the Mishnah in Bava Basra, you're fired. Says the Gemara. So here's a question. Here, let's do this. There was a guarantor, two friends. A friend borrowed $1 million, and he asked his buddy to be an Orev, and unfortunately, let's say it happens, I heard it a bunch of times in different situations, Maisa Shahayas, where a person struggles to pay for a wedding. It's very, very stressful. I don't have to tell the Olam, you all know, it's a lot of money. It's more money than most people earn in a year, 2 years, whatever it is, and you take upon yourself debt. And some people died. There was a guy that died at his own daughter's wedding. The guys that died, many people have died during Sheva Brachas. It's very, very stressful. The guy dies. He dies and he leaves a guarantor. And he leaves a bunch of small children. The guarantor decides to go and pay up the loan. But he forgot to talk to the Yisayimim, who are only 8 and 10 years old. Says the Gemara, he did the wrong thing. For 2 reasons. This is machlokes what the reason is. But he shouldn't have done it. Amar Papa. So we have to remember this. Rabbi said when there was a loan and it was documented, it was a documented loan. It's in a document. But because these are Yisayimim, we treat it not as a documented loan, we treat it as a milva al peh, as if there was no documentation. Says the Gemara, Amar Papa, Priyas B'chayv mitzvah. It's a tremendous mitzvah to pay back a loan. But guess what? Yisayimim don't have to do mitzvahs. Why? Because they're 8 years old and 10 years old. They're part for mitzvahs. They're not bar mitzvah yet. You have no business making them do mitzvahs when they're not chayiv in mitzvahs. So you're going to have to wait here now. So that being said, there are people, briskers, and maybe we should do the same thing, that if we pay back a loan, it's an unbelievable thing. You could just pay back the loan, or you could pay back the loan, and as you're paying it back, like when you give tzedakah to somebody, you should probably have in mind, hey, I'm doing a mitzvah tzedakah. When you say kriyashma, you have kavanah. Besides all the kavanas of Daled Ruchos and Hashem and Elokeinu, you have to have kavanah. I'm being mekayim mitzvah asay of kriyashma, right? That's one of the kavanas you're supposed to have. You have to have kavanah, you should have kavanah, of being mekayim a mitzvah of priyas bal chayv, which is a mitzvah. The Pele Yaitz goes as far as saying that you should borrow money from somebody so you can be mekayim the mitzvah of giving back. There's some people that get married so they can give back the wife, the whole thing. What? Yeah, I know those people also. There's people that are mekayim that mitzvah liyidura once a week, once a day, and sometimes they do it with the same person. They pay back and then they borrow again. Yeah, there's people. So you got to judge favorably. Why is this guy borrowing money? Because he wants to be mekayim the mitzvah.
So you have to give it back when they grow up.
Yeah, of course they don't. Of course they didn't give it up. I thought everybody understood that. Anybody in this room thought Yosef doesn't have to pay back? No, he has to pay back. And we're mechayiv on mitzvahs. When you have a mitzvah, we could force you to shake a lulav. Force you. Literally force. But listen to this question. If Priyas Balchoiv is a mitzvah, Elvis, you listening? It's a mitzvah. We have a concept in Shas that for a mitzvah, you only have to pay 20% of what you own. So if I owe $50,000 and in my bank account they only have $50,000, I shouldn't have to pay back $50,000 because that's 100% of what I own. I only have to give the lender 20% to be mekayim a mitzvah. To buy an esrog, only 20% of my whatever I have. So why is this any different? Says the Briskerov, because it's not your money. You're giving him back his money, not your money. That's how he learns it. Reb Moshe Feinstein says something completely different. He says, let's say the Torah says you should buy an esrog for $1,000. The Torah says, buy esrog for $1,000. And you only have $1,000 in your bank account. Do we say, you should only use 20% of everything you have? No, because the Torah says straight out, the amount. The amount is $1,000. So even if it's 100% of what you have, that's what you have. Says Reb Moshe Feinstein, the Torah says pay back your entire loan. That's the amount. The amount is 100% of your loan. So there's no 20%. Don't come up with any tirutzim of asmachtas and 20% and all these moira hetters. There is no moira. You owe money, you pay back. There's another reason why he shouldn't have taken out from Yisraelim. So we have a concept in Shas. We have to be concerned that Yisraelim at least could claim that they believed that their father was a mensch and he gave the guy a suitcase of cash and he said, listen, if I don't come back to pay you, I don't wire you the money, here's the suitcase of cash. I'm asking you not to touch it. I need this cash. I have other cash businesses. But if something happens, they could claim something like that. So Mela, what are you paying back the loan if perhaps there's a suitcase of cash somewhere? Both Rav Papa and both Rav Huna and Rav Papa both say that you do not pay back a loan that's owed by young children, by the Yisayma. So if so, Amud Beis, my Beis, so then where lays the nafkamina la'alacha? They both say the same thing. You shouldn't pay back the loan. One says because it's a mitzvah, don't do mitzvahs for Yosef. The other one says perhaps he left a suitcase worth of cash. So you have to come up with a situation where you know there's no suitcase of cash. When you know there's no suitcase of cash, then you're only left with the svara of don't do a mitzvah for Yosef. When the father, right before he died, he's on his deathbed, and he screamed out, I owe $1 million to so-and-so. So you know there was no suitcase of cash. Inami, the shamtu misk b'shamte. In the time of the Gemara, if somebody didn't pay, you hear this, Elvis? If somebody owes money and doesn't pay back, they would put him in Chiurim, and he says, no, I don't want to pay. Not because he owed money, because he says, I don't feel like paying. So this guy died in Chiurim. Had he paid back, or had he given him a suitcase of cash, the Chiurim would have been over. So we know there's no suitcase of cash. However, so according to this man, you could go after the Yisayim. But according to Rav Papa, that the pshat is that the Yosem, you don't have to do a mitzvah, the Yosem is not chayv mitzvahs, so you still don't go after the Yisayim, even if we know for a fact he didn't pay back. Shalchim Yidam, so they said in Eretz Yisrael. We have to say, turning of the daf, Kinnovations LC, Shkoyach Reb Kinnovations for the special shout out today, in honor of my uncle, Reb Chanan Pressman, and Fischel, and Mamish, I can't wait, it's so exciting, I'm going to see. You know what I'm going to see on Shabbos over there? Mendi Auerbach. In honor of my uncle, Reb Chanan Pressman, I'm going to see Reb Chanan Pressman and Fischel. It should be Schus. Fakiva Simcha, I'm going to see him. And a shuddah for Rivki Yudis Basyav Chaim, I'm going to see her. And a huge thank you to Reb Stefansky, I'm going to see her. People said, because I said once as a joke, I hope she comes. She's already in America. What are you talking about? She's there before me. Plus all the brachas. And Danny Fine and Rob Ernst of Elite Israel Realty, who are not going to be there, unfortunately. Welcoming all the new Olim, proudly standing with you on your journey to finishing Shas together, but Yaakov Citron will be there.
Rob made a bar mitzvah last night.
Oh, Mazel Tov Rob, and he sent in that picture, I don't think we showed it, with the son with MDY socks at the kotel. You see the kotel in the back? What? We did show it? We showed it. Okay. No, I showed it on a phone. I didn't show it on the screen. It wasn't... Says the Gemara. Shalchim Itam, they sent it from Eretz Yisrael. Shamtu mis b'shamte. Somebody wasn't paying back his loans, and they put him in Chiurim. Hilchasek Rav Huna, B'reider Rav Yeshua. The law is like Rav Huna, Rav Yeshua. Now what? That we are concerned that maybe he left a suitcase, but in this case, that he's in Chiurim, there's no suitcase of cash. In Mela, you could go after the Yisayim and pay back the debt, and the Arav will get his money back. In our case, where the Arav paid the debt, even though the children are very young, under Bar Mitzvah, he gets paid back. because you don't have the svarid. The guy was in Chayrim, so there's no way he paid it back, and the Arv did the right thing for paying it for it. Rabbi said, don't forget, Sanhedrin starts Wednesday, Thursday, depending what share you go to and how. I want to say another thing. I have to say this, I almost forgot. Because I'm traveling to the United States tomorrow night, so tomorrow there's going to be 4 shiurim. It's really, the only shiur that's important to you guys is the final daf, Kufay Vav. The other 2 shiurim are in Hebrew. Doing daf Kufay Vav in Hebrew and the first daf of Sanhedrin live from this base measure. So if you want to hear the first shiur of Sanhedrin in Hebrew, hopefully there'll be room for you. The 2 shiurim tomorrow, just regular Kufay Hey and Kufay Vav, 1 Amud, should be a little shorter than usual. We'll do it. What time is a good time to do it? 4 o'clock. We'll do 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock right in the Beis Medrash. What? 4 o'clock. But I do want to tell the Olam, I have to say this. Every time I leave, people fall off the bandwagon. And the reason is very simple, I think. I'm thinking about it. We're creatures of habit. Daf Yomi is the biggest habit that we have in our life. We do it every single day. Not a day goes by that we don't do it. Shabbos, Yom, the whole thing. And you guys are used, a lot of people used to come into Beis Medrash, and I'm here. Now when I'm not here, people they don't know what to do with themselves. So there's going to be a matzav here every day. There's going to be bagels and breakfast, Be'ez Hashem, every single morning. It's L'tzoyrech. I know that the Olam doesn't like when I go, but there's a huge, huge Olam in America. In fact, last time I gave a live shiur in Borough Park, the Loy Guzma, with a counter, there was 1,500 people in one shiur. There's going to be close to 1,000 people, Be'ez Hashem, in the shiur on Wednesday. There's a big crowd, a big Olam. So that's why I go to America. I'm here every day. I go over there for siyumim and things like that. So, Be'ez Hashem, we're going to have a siyum here, a massive siyum. We already have close to 400 tickets sold. 400 tickets sold. You hear this? We're closing it down at 600, Be'ez Hashem. So, at the Emerald, we'll have. But hold it together while I'm gone. And Be'ez Hashem, I'll be back on Thursday. It's unbelievable because I'm leaving on a Tuesday night. I'm coming back on a Thursday, and we're already going to be holding a Daf Yud Aleph of Sanhedrin. I don't know how the math works, but that's what's going to happen. How about I don't lose the Olam on the first few days of Sanhedrin? Says the Gemara. Join dafyomi.com. Join dafyomi.com. Bring your friends. Bring your friends. Meisvei. We got to beat those Israelis. What are they doing? I don't know what they have like magic. Close to 2,000 people, and this shiur just started less than a year ago. They brought in 2,000 people signed up. Now there is over 1,000 English speakers that signed up, and maybe we'll say, we're going after the same people over and over for the last few years. But you guys have to make a ishtadlus and bring more people to Torah. Says the Gemara, Meisvei. The Arv went ahead and paid the loan, and now he goes after the Yisrael and says, listen, pay me. I paid your father's loan, you pay me? And in Goiva, he's not able to collect from the Yisrael. However, listen to this halacha, and this is going to be amazing halacha. If the Malva writes on the bottom of the star, you Arv, I received money from you, then he could go after the Yisrael. Now we don't have the halacha yet, we're going to get there. It says in Gemara Bishlam, Rav Huna Bereder Rav Yeshua, according to Rav Huna, who says that there's a problem of a suitcase. Maybe he left a suitcase of cash. But if the father, right before he died, he admitted that he owes the money, obviously there's no suitcase, and therefore you pay the loan, and the Yisraelim can't do anything about it. They have to pay you. Rav Papa, but according to Rav Papa, that says that you don't pay a loan of small children because they're not chayiv in mitzvahs. Kasha, why do the Yisraelim have to pay this arev? Says Gemara, I'll tell you why. It's an amazing halacha. Shani hasam lachi torach v'kosav leis kabalti. When the lender writes in the shtar his kabalti, I received money from this arev, he's transferring over the loan to the arev. Now the arev becomes the new borrower. He's the borrower. It becomes a real shtar. Until now, it was a milval pet. Because of Yisraelim, we view it as a milval pet. But now it becomes a milva b'shtar. He's holding on to the shtar. He goes over to the Yisraelim and says, pay up. Why? He becomes the new malva, the new lender. Because of leis kabalti. You hear? When are Yisayim? When do we say, oh, the Yisayim, they don't have to pay? When it's a milva, I'll pay. But when it's a milva b'shtar, if there's such a thing, and then over here it became a new loan, as if the Yisayim borrowed the money themselves, then, you know what, I threw that out. Erase that. When he is the actual malva, he goes after the Yisayim directly, and they have to pay. Says Gemara, a Jew, let's say, borrowed money from a non-Jewish bank. He borrowed from the bank. And he had to bring a friend, Velvel, to be his Arav. And the guy went directly to the guarantor and took money from him before they even went to the orphans. This is what they said in the name of Rav. Even according to Refuat, it says we have to be concerned that maybe there's a sukkahs of cash. That's only maybe the borrower gave a suitcase of cash. Who do you give? Think about it. Would you give Joe Schmo Guy a suitcase of $1 million of cash? No. The best case scenario, maybe you gave a guy in your neighborhood, somebody a guy that you daven with in shul, he lent you money, so you give him a suitcase of cash. But the Gemara is saying a different thing. Since they have crazy halachas, they have the Persian rule, and the Persian rule is you go after the Arev first, so there's no reason to believe that the Malva gave the bank a suitcase of cash. Why would he do that? Let the bank go after the guarantor. Says the Gemara, that goofa is the reason why maybe there was a suitcase of cash. Because who in the world would be a guarantor? Think about it. Why would I be a guarantor for you if the bank is going to come after me before they even come after you? You're going to borrow $1 million, buy an apartment, and I have to pay for it? So why would I be a guarantor? Elamai, the only reason I'll be a guarantor is because you, the guy that's buying the apartment, you gave them a suitcase of cash. The logic is the exact opposite. A guy, kivin, their law is you go after the guarantor. If not for the fact that he gave him a suitcase of cash, he wouldn't accept to be a narav. So in this case, fakert, we have to say there was a suitcase. Reb Shimon says if a person is a guarantor to a woman's ksuba, so you have to be concerned that maybe the husband and wife made a knunya, they made a deal, shtick, and they pretend that they're divorced, right? People do that. I don't know if in our societies they do it, but I've heard of this. Sometimes for government benefits, whatever it is, for insurance reasons, a single parent gets better benefits. So people get divorced. They live together, they're married, but they're divorced. Legally they're divorced. Why? So they can get an extra $45 a month, on Section 8, whatever it is. There's different, he gets his thing, she gets her check, shtick. People do it. Yeah, shtick. Let's get divorced for one day. The guy that guaranteed the wife's ksuba of $100,000 will have to pay up the ksuba. We already established yesterday that he can't go after he can't go after the husband because he didn't receive the cash. He can't go after the wife because she didn't guarantee anything. It was the husband that guaranteed. Kids said they made $100,000 for free. Says the Gemara, one of the wildest stories in Shas. Crazy story. Moshe Bar Otzri, Arve de Ksubasa de Kalose Have. Moshe Bar Otzri, wealthy guy, he tells his daughter-in-law, you have nothing to worry about. You're marrying my son. If he doesn't give you the ksuba, come to me. I'm good for the ksuba. Rav Huna Berei, he had a son, a Talmud Chacham. His name was Rav Huna. Not the famous Rav Huna, but a Rav Huna. He was a Talmud Chacham. He's doing terribly in Parnassa. He's in Chaya, he didn't have a dime to his name. He goes to his father, asks him for money. His father says, get a job. What are you learning? So Abai says, listen, we got to feel bad for this guy. Can't anybody, listen, I don't want to do it myself, but can anybody in yeshiva go over to him and whisper to them, listen, divorce your wife for a day, and then you can get the money from your father. Now everybody's asking the question, what in the world? Abaya? This is Abaya. The Galadar is telling the guy to lie and get divorced so he can get a couple of bucks. What is going on here? That's what I'm saying. It's one of the wildest stories in all of Shas. The Gemara does ask him. And then she could go collect money from her father-in-law. And then you get remarried. Terrible idea. Don't you know the Mishnah says that if you do this, then a husband in front of Bezdin has to say, Amud Aleph, I'll never benefit from you in my life. And we said yesterday has to be Adas Rabim, thank you very much. And Abaye tells us a big side called the Megarish B'Vidin Megarish. In our days, we get divorced in Bezdin. And it's a recent thing, maybe, I don't remember, 100, 150, 200 years. It's a recent thing that we get divorced in Bezdin. In those days, you get divorced at home. You need to weigh them here. So if you do it in the street, there's no Bezdin to tell you that you have to make this special stipulation that the Mishnah says you have to be mudar no. Says the Gemara, it doesn't even work. He can't. That would be terrible if they did this idea. That's why nobody whispered to him this idea. In the English, they say the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Literally, a guy that has a lot of money, he invests in the stock market. He puts it in the S&P 500. It keeps on growing. A guy that's poor, he's borrowing money with interest, crazy interest, compounding, blah, blah, blah. He has no money. The Ibn Ezra, he said, he was so poor, he said, if I sold Tachrichem, I have such bad mazel, if I sold Tachrichem, nobody would die. And then he had a Maisa that his father-in-law wanted to give him money. He says, I don't take gifts. His father saw, he knows his route to Shul. He put money all over the sidewalk. And he walked right over it. He said, what's going on? He says, I had this ha'ara today that I want to see what it feels like to be a blind man. So today I closed my eyes, walked all the way to Shul like a blind man. He never had mazel to get money. People just don't have that mazel sometimes. So says the Gemara, but this is unbelievable. We learned in this Masechta that we should remember this. How Abaye himself said, Ezu Rasha Aroim, who's a conniving Rasha. Remember I said it doesn't mean naked, it means conniving. Remember this? I'll show you this the chart. A guy says, I'll give you this property, and after you die, you just give it to the next guy, and after he dies, you give it to... It keeps on going and going down the line. Says Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, but if the first guy sells it to somebody else, then if he sells it, it stays by the guy that he sold it to. So says Abaye, but if anybody tells you to do that trick, you're a Russia. You're making the last guy in the line lose his property. Oh, so how could Abaye give such an idea that a guy's going to lose $100,000? The father-in-law is going to lose $100,000 to his daughter-in-law. Says Gemara, and this answers all our questions today. Benoy Shani. This guy is a Meshugano. What is he being so stingy? What is he holding back? What does he have money for? Not to give to his own son? But a son is one thing. What about a son who's a Talmud Chacham? V'tzumim Rabban Shani. Abaye felt that this guy is in the wrong. The father-in-law is in the wrong. And if we can't get the money out of him, talking to him nicely and saying, hey, you have a son that's in learning Torah and he's struggling. If you don't care, then I'm going to trick you into paying it. No, just real quickly. It's Shachris already? Fine. So we'll just finish over here. Hold on. We'll stop over here. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.